Okay, moving on to example 3. It says, how do you define the quotient f divided by g of the functions? So again, we have some new notation here. F over g is a notation asking us to take our f function and divide it by our g function. So when we look at this, if I have f of x is x minus 7, and g of x is 2x squared plus 13x minus 7, we would say f over g is going to be x minus 7 divided by 2x squared minus 13x minus 7. All right, now it would be nice if that was it, but what we have to think about is, can I simplify this? The only way I would be able to simplify this would be if this piece down here could be factored. So let's think about factoring that. I have 3 terms in a quadratic, with the first term having a leading coefficient not equal to 1. So I'm going to have to split this 13 into 2. So I'm going to come up here and show that work. We have 2x squared minus 13x minus 7. I want to split this into 2 pieces. When I split it into 2 pieces, I'm looking for something that multiplies to 2 times negative 7. So it multiplies to negative 14, and it adds to the middle, negative 13. So something that multiplies to negative 14 and adds to negative 13, 1 times negative 14. 1 times negative 14 will give me negative 14. 1 plus negative 14 will give me my negative 13. So this becomes 2x squared plus 1x minus 14x minus 7. So I just took this 13x and split it into 2. Now I have 4 terms. With 4 terms, we could factor by grouping. Take the GCF out here. Looks like it's going to be an x, which leaves me with 2x plus 1. Take the GCF out here, which looks like it's going to be negative 7, which leaves me with 2x plus 1. So this piece factors to x minus 7 and 2x plus 1. So I could say this becomes x plus 7 over 2x squared minus 13x minus, oops, no. Okay, sorry, I don't have whiteout at home. So we want to write the factored form here. So that is going to be x minus 7, 2x plus 1. And look up here, I have a copy error. So you need to make sure you copy the same. That's x minus 7. Okay. And then we could say that this factor and that factor cross out. So f divided by g is going to be 1 over 2x plus 1. Now we have to be careful when we look at the domain. If we look at the domain of f of x, it's all reals. If we look at the domain of g of x, I could put any number in for x and it's fine. It's also all reals. But if I look at the domain of f divided by g of x, here's where I have to be careful. If I were to put 7 in right here, I would get 0 times something. Well, I can't have a 0 in the denominator. So my domain is going to be all reals. X cannot equal 7. Also, this piece can't be 0. X cannot equal. So if I were going to set 2x plus 1 not equal to 0, that would say 2x cannot equal negative 1. So x cannot be negative 1/2. So you have to be careful on division. Whatever's in the bottom, you have to make sure that I don't put values in for my g function, because that's on the bottom, that give me a 0 output. So f divided by g is 1 divided by 2x plus 1 with a domain of all reals where x cannot equal 7 and x cannot equal negative 1/2.